Will you check under the bed and make sure there's no Disney executives?
Have you ever seen someone light a fire, then act surprised when the whole house burns down? That's basically Rachel Zegler during the Snow White fiasco. Disney's remake was already circling the drain, but then South Park came along and casually shoved it off a cliff with their trademark, "We don't care if you're offended" energy. Classic. While Rachel was still trying to navigate the controversy, South Park didn't just roast the movie, they obliterated it. And her. It left Disney looking like someone hit reply all in the middle of a corporate meltdown. But to truly appreciate this train wreck, we need to rewind a bit. Disney's been having an identity crisis bigger than your cousin after their third gap year. Every recent move screams, "Please like us." And now, they're reportedly cooking up a new DEI special? Yes, stay tuned, because this isn't just a flop, it's a full-blown Hollywood disaster unfolding in real time. South Park just added insult to injury. Disney's been rewriting stories, changing characters, and treating beloved classics like Pinterest DIYs. They look good in theory, but fall apart the second you try to build them. And Snow White? It's been controversial from day one, from Rachel Zegler's casting to the complete overhaul of the original plot. And now, the internet and South Park are making sure no one forgets.
Oh, not again. Yeah, only this time, it wasn't just me. They were taking all my favorite people and replacing them with diverse women complaining about the page.
Removing the romantic storyline that made the original Snow White so iconic? Bad move. Then came the dwarves controversy, which lit a firestorm of backlash from fans. And when South Park saw the chaos, they basically said, "Hold my beer." This is where things really took off. In their Pandaverse special, South Park didn't just take shots, they went full scorched earth. They echoed exactly what the internet has been screaming for months, but with that unapologetic, savage flair only South Park can pull off.
There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
As a parody of Hollywood's obsession with diversity checklists, South Park didn't hold back. In true South Park fashion, Cartman and the gang were transformed into adult women of color, because of course they were. Let's be honest, Disney practically begged for this roast with the way they've handled Snow White. The Pandaverse special ripped into how studios keep turning real stories into lifeless box-ticking exercises. And South Park's message? Loud and brutal. Congrats, Disney. You're so busy pandering, you forgot how to tell a good story. And front and center in that roast? Rachel Zegler. Now don't get it twisted. Most people support diversity in film. But Disney's approach has felt less like genuine inclusion and more like a corporate checklist. Forced, hollow, and painfully obvious. Snow White was an easy target from the beginning. I mean, the character's literally named for having skin as white as snow. So casting Rachel Zegler, a Latina actress, was always going to stir debate. But the controversy didn't stop at casting. Disney gutted the soul of the original, no prince. No romance. And the iconic dwarves? Replaced with CGI stand-ins in a live-action remake. Make it make sense. All in the name of avoiding stereotypes and aiming for a more modern, inclusive take. But instead of reimagining the story with heart, it turned into a soulless marketing ploy. And South Park? They saw the train wreck coming and couldn't resist. Their parody basically screamed, if you strip away everything that made Snow White what it was, what's left besides a PR campaign? Rachel didn't help matters either. When you land a role as legendary as Snow White, you'd think maybe, just maybe, you show a little respect for the original. But Rachel went the opposite direction, throwing the classic under the bus in interviews. She called it outdated, weird, and even suggested the prince gave off red flag energy. And when South Park catches the scent of corporate pandering, they never miss.
All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood.
Never mind offering advice. Rachel Zegler practically told half the country not to watch the movie. I don't need your business, thanks. Incredibly smooth, Rachel. She also bragged that the prince barely appears in the remake, and that Snow White isn't about love at all anymore. In fact, she hinted all of Andrew Burnip's scenes could be cut entirely. Hollywood, baby. Fans were furious. Critics were confused. And South Park? They were already sharpening their knives for the roast. At that point, Rachel didn't sound like someone proud to revive a classic. She sounded embarrassed to be associated with it at all. And of course, South Park couldn't ignore Disney's bizarre reimagining of the Seven Dwarfs. Instead of beloved characters, we got a random assortment of diverse companions who looked like they wandered off the set of a failed Dungeons & Dragons campaign. It was painfully clear Disney was trying so hard to avoid controversy, they ran face-first into it. And South Park ran wild with it. Mocking how studios are gutting beloved stories in the name of not offending anyone, only to end up offending everyone. You'd think The Little Mermaid remake would have taught Disney something. Sure, Halle Bailey faced backlash, but the story stayed mostly intact. With Snow White, Disney went through multiple reshoots, CGI'd the dwarfs back in, and still couldn't avoid the storm. At this point, Snow White is barely recognizable. And let's not pretend Rachel's interviews helped. Her dismissive attitude toward the original love story handed South Park all the material they needed. They turned her comments into the satirical version of a PSA. If you hate the story this much, maybe don't star in it. And they didn't stop there. South Park also roasted Disney's diversity plus modern twist equals profit formula straight into orbit. Because here's the twist. Fans weren't just laughing. They were agreeing. Rumor has it Disney even reached out to South Park's parent company to try and tone things down. But if history tells us anything, that's the worst move possible. Remember what happened when they roasted Scientology and Tom Cruise? Yeah, they thrived on the drama. Trying to silence South Park is like throwing gasoline on an already blazing fire. And just when you think it couldn't get worse, they're reportedly working on a brand new DI-themed special, possibly dropping as early as August, and it's aimed right back at Rachel and Disney. And let's be real, after the way this movie flopped, it's basically open season. Insiders say Rachel is fuming behind the scenes. She expected praise for bringing a bold, modern twist to a classic, not to become the internet's favorite meme and the centerpiece of a savage cartoon takedown. She's reportedly frustrated that people assume she landed the role just to check a diversity box. And South Park mocking her? That didn't just add salt to the wound, it dumped the whole salt shaker. Between Disney's tone-deaf PR, Rachel's fiery interviews, and South Park's unfiltered Panderverse parody, it all crashed together into a glorious Hollywood meltdown. So now the big question. Will Disney actually learn from this disaster? Or will they double down and keep modernizing classics until there's nothing left to modernize? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And until next time, keep your satire sharp and your classics intact. Oh, and one last thing. If South Park is roasting you,